Yo, welcome in to another episode of Between the Hedges. Thank you guys for your continued support. Thank you for tuning in and watching this whenever you do, whether it's now or later. We appreciate it. How are you guys doing tonight?
All good. A little tired after staying up late watching that Sugar Bowl finish at close to 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday.
Yeah,
Same.
that late start's definitely no bueno. We need to push for some earlier start times here. But
Agree.
still two very competitive games, very fun games, and definitely a stark contrast to years past in the college football playoff. So we'll definitely take that.
Yeah, I think when we did our little preview show, we talked about how we thought there was a chance that the semifinals would actually be good games, close matchups this year, which is typically speaking, they haven't been. And they were. You get an overtime game and then one that was one play away from going to overtime.
Which that's all you can really ask for as a fan if you're not just if you're a warm weather fan, not pulling for any team on the
In
field.
particular. Right.
So it was definitely very fun and very interesting. But we would just like to get started here with a little bit of Georgia news first, because Georgia first on this
That's all you
show
can really ask for as a
always.
fan if you're not.
I'm getting feedback. Thank you. Um, and we'll start with what you see on screen here, Mr. Bowers declaring for the draft. No shocks there, but still a little bittersweet because his time at UGA comes to an end. Um, First two-time Mackey Award winner at the tight end position, and arguably one of, if not the best, Georgia tight end in school history.
He is the
And
best Georgia tight end. There's no doubt about that. The argument can come whether or not he's the best tight end to ever play college football. That's where you could get some argument. But he, without a doubt, he's the best Georgia tight end to ever play.
yeah, I,
Couldn't
you know,
agree more.
I would agree with that. I just think there maybe is some debate with the um, tight end who's the local radio host. What's
Greg
uh,
McMichael or no, Randy
Randy
McMichael.
McMichael?
Yeah, I mean, I believe me, I saw some other really good tight ends come through and play for the University of Georgia. None of them were Brock Bowers, and I think even Randy McMichael would tell you that.
Well,
I don't even know who that is.
come on, you gotta know who that
Well,
is.
Google and YouTube are your friends, so look him up. He was a really good tight end for University. There for a while, Georgia went on a tight end run similar to what they're going on now with some of the ones they've had with the last few years, but none of them were Brock Bowers. I can tell you that. I've seen, I've seen him personally play and watched them personally, so none of them were Brock. It's going to be weird not seeing him suit up anymore
Yeah. But we
for
also have
Georgia.
Oscar Delp, so I think he's
He's not Brock
um
Bowers. He's not Brock Bowers, and I wouldn't want to put that on that man. He's got huge shoes to fill, and I hope he doesn't really try to fill them. I hope he
he's
just plays his game and does what he's good at, and let the chips fall where they may. Nobody's ever going to be Brock Bowers again for the University of
no,
Georgia.
no, but he's gonna be Oscar Delp. Like we have
Still five-star tight end.
right. It's another five-star tight end. He's going to prove himself. He Yes, he was behind the best tight end in NCAA, in my opinion. But he's got a lot of shoe to fill. But he's Oscar Del. He's gonna he's gonna represent his name.
So with Brock coming out announcing his intention to go for the declare for the NFL draft, you got a total of 11 former Bulldogs putting their names in the hat for the NFL draft. You've got Zion Logue, defensive lineman, two running backs, Kendall Milton, Dejon Edwards, wide receivers, Ladd McConkey. He came out recently. I hate to see him
Not
go
lad.
too. I hate to see Ladd go. I mean, he was just fun to watch play. And I actually thought with Beck coming back, he may decide to run it back one more time before going in the draft, but that's
He
not the
could
case.
change his mind.
And then Rosemy Jack Saint, he's also leaving. Center Cedric Van Pran, safety Tyke Smith, safety Javon Bullard, corner Kamari Lassiter, and then the tackle Amarius Mims to go along with Brock Bowers. So 11 Bulldogs putting their name in the hat so far. I think there's still a few uh, days. I think they've got actually a couple more weeks before the deadline is up to enter if there's anybody else thinking about it. But I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. We're still waiting for a decision from. But between those guys leaving and then the portal guys, we're up to 23 that have decided to hit the portal. It's going to be a new team next year. It's a good thing we recruit as well as we do.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I think the the saying, excuse me, of what's that coming down the tracks? Um, that little
Mean,
chant,
mean Machine in
What's
red and
that
black.
coming down the track?
it, it's
That's the
still gonna
mean
keep
machine in
rolling.
red and black.
Yeah, I mean, the beat goes on. We're gonna keep marching, I think, to another SEC championship game next season and beyond this time because we got the expanded playoff. And I mean, heck, found out today Georgia would have been favored over both the national championship game
Participants.
participants by 3 and 6 points.
It's
So,
not shocking.
but we're not one of the best four teams and we didn't make it and we blew our only shot, but whatever. So it's shoulda, woulda, coulda, and but next season I think, like Matthew says, there's nothing really to worry about now that Brock Bowers is back. I mean, not Brock Bowers, uh,
Carson
Carson
Beck.
Beck. Even with Brock Bowers leaving, even with Vandergriff, leaving, and all these other guys that played, a significant role in the team, whether it's through the portal or the draft, the machine just keeps rolling. And it's a well-oiled machine. It's a well-coached machine. It's a mean machine. It's scary. It's tough. They play together. There's a culture. This thing isn't going anywhere. So it's
Oh,
very,
I would
very,
be a lot more worried if we didn't have the man in charge that we have
yeah.
in charge with Kirby. Him being in charge, he's gonna do everything he can to the extent of all his powers to put the best team on the field that he possibly can, and I'm not worried about it at all. What the team that we put out there on the field is going to be one of the best in the nation.
And we also get to prove ourselves even more next season with the schedule that we have. Just saying.
You can say that again.
I was
That
going to,
No,
but nah,
that's
don't.
that's a that's a big Kahuna schedule right there. So you come out of that with
Alabama wouldn't do it.
yeah. So
Sorry, team.
well, hey, we don't have to hear Mark's safe from here in Roll Tide for the foreseeable future. So
the
not
other big news from today is corner Julian Humphrey put his name in the portal. He's the big name. He's a former five-star recruit out of Texas that we got. He played a real decent amount this season, and with the losses of three of our starting DBs off our defense, he was definitely in line for extended playing time next year. I guess there's always a chance that some of these guys could decide to come back. We've had that happen before. But right now, he's put his name in the portal. That's the big news as far as the portal goes for Georgia right now. And I think the deadline is midnight tonight. It closes. So I don't know that there's anybody else that we're going to hear about um, putting their name in the pot for the portal because that deadline is midnight tonight. I think everybody that was questioned whether or not they would, I think they've all made those intentions known.
yep, and T minus 2 hours and 45 minutes, give or take. So a lot of guys wanted to just go ahead and get it out there right after the game that they're declaring for the draft, and then the remainder of the guys that weren't going pro that wanted to test the waters went ahead and put their names out there. So we just wanted to get that little bit of information to you guys, update you on where we stand as far as that goes. So we got 23 guys moving out. We just signed a class of 27, 28, something like that. Um,
+5 margin.
what's that?
A
But
+5 margin. Lose
well, we also
23,
got
gain 28.
well, you also lost you're losing 11 to the NFL potentially as well. And but then we've got five incoming transfers from the portal so far too. So
It's all evening out, and we're gonna, be just fine. And I think we're gonna get maybe a couple more transfers trickle in that may want to come be a part of what's going on in Athens. Because I mean, it's definitely fun, definitely a different culture. It feels more like a family. You hear that from all the players. That's not me saying it. You can feel it here at Athens. Like I said, I live here now, so you can walk around town. You just talking to people, you can feel the difference in other cultures out there. So it's very, very exciting. And I think we will pivot now, if we would like, to the Sugar Bowl, another really exciting game like we've discussed. Uh, this came down to the last possession, just like the game before it, with Texas on the 13 yard line and a scramble by Ewers that ends up all for naught and going incomplete. But a great, great game by both teams. Just want to congratulate, both teams for making it to that point, and for Washington being doubted all year long and just continuing to win. Just finding ways
find
to
a
win.
way, get the W,
They're
move on.
they're doing similar to how Georgia was. I mean, a lot of people doubted us the two times we went back to back. So they're kind of doing what we did for sure. Um, but they are definitely proving themselves, and I'm I'm rooting for them for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of the country will be rooting for Washington just because of all the news and otherwise surrounding Michigan and the growing hatred for them and really Jim Harbaugh. more than anything, I think. Um, but Michael Penix, he balled out last night. Only 9 incompletions, averaged 11 yards per completion, 430 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Good grief.
Yeah, you talk about stepping up in the biggest moment, and being there for your team. Now you're talking about a 6-year veteran, but still, he performed on the biggest stage so far in his career and had a QBR of almost 98. So he was nearly perfect in the game. Uh, Not much more you can say about that. That's just incredible. Well done. Hats off to him. I hope the Falcons draft him.
I mean, it would be nice to draft him, but I feel like uh Falcons would go after like Russell Wilson or something like that.
That's the rumor. Another veteran quarterback that the Falcons are gonna maybe get in the mix for, but uh yeah, you can't. That's it. That's all we're gonna say about them. You couldn't pay me to
Right.
talk about the Falcons right now. So,
No, you couldn't pay me at all. It's a joke.
and we also had Washington had 2 receivers go for over 120 yards in this game,
Really nice.
and they've got 3 NFL receivers on that roster. So, um, Roma Dunze, I think he should
He's
have been the what is it, the Bolitnikoff winner? He,
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
so,
he
yeah.
definitely deserved that uh, over Ohio State's Marvin Harrison because I think there was, like we've said, more hype and substance there to this season. Now, last season, Harrison was incredible, but if you want to talk about best wide receiver, it should have been a Dunze or Neighbors for LSU. And so he definitely showed out last night, leading his team in receiving yards. So Steve Sarkisian didn't get it done. What do we think about him and his status in Texas moving forward?
I I will say he'll stay. Um they I think he pretty much got it done. They came back in that fourth quarter. There were 10 minutes left in that fourth quarter, and I thought they were done. It was, they were down by 13 at the beginning of the fourth, I believe, or something like that. I can't remember because of my lack of sleep. But um, they were down double digits, I believe, and they came back and fought till the last second. Um, Now the former Georgia boy, AD Mitchell, if he got that catch, bro, that would have been a miraculous way to end a game.
Well,
But
he's got one game winner on his resume.
right, so it just would have been another one, and the DB just did his job, timed his jump perfectly, and swatted that ball out. Couldn't do anything. I wouldn't hang my head on that. I would be happy. Like they had to block, like swat that ball in order for them to win that game. So it's more on Washington almost choking that game than Texas losing.
Well, and they opted not to take a knee,
That
right?
too. Like
We've seen that happen a few times this season. Like, why not just take a knee and run the clock out? Um, like, don't even know what Kalen DeBoer had to say about that after the game, but I'd like to know because you gave Texas a chance and then you had to rely on your defense that's kind of been shaky in the secondary. Luckily, they made a play.
and same with their running back injury. That saved Texas too. That saved them like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Dad, what do you think? Is Texas going into the SEC? How does it look for them?
Well, I mean, they had a very successful season overall. I mean, they won the Big 12 their final season for them. I'm glad they're not coming into the SEC as defending national champions or anything like that. They would definitely have more uh, of a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? They would have more cachet or come in with a bigger head than they already do. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? So they including their heads and what they think of their program. So you know, am I sad to see them lose last night? No. I think Washington was the better team. I think they played a better game. I think the quarterback for Washington just was on fire all night. I mean, just precision point passes. I mean, almost every single one he threw, it was just right where it had to be. I mean, just it was fun to watch. Um, but as far as Sarkisian goes, he's not in any trouble. I mean, he's got Texas playing better than they have in the probably the last at least 10, 15 years. Um, since ever since Vince Young was on that team. So that tells you how long ago it was. Um, y'all do remember Vince Young, right? Y'all.
Oh yeah,
I remember watching him.
we
Him
watched
and
him play. We watched him
Yeah.
play
So,
USC and then Alabama back-to-back years for the Natty.
yeah,
So
so,
USC.
but he's not going to be going anywhere. His job's safe. And it'll be interesting with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC, and you know, the SEC next year will be divisionless. It'll all be one pile of teams in one conference. So you're not going to have division winners playing for the championship. It's just going to be the top two seeds. And adding two marquee names like that to our list of teams that you got to compete with, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch.
yeah, definitely. I wasn't really suggesting that Sark should be in trouble. I just his resume is shaping up to be a little bit similar to and kind of less than in some categories to Jimbo. Uh,
Yeah, I saw that comparison between the two of them. It's eerily similar in their
eerily
first
similar.
what was it, like 3 or 4 years of being at Jimbo at Texas A&M and him at Texas. I mean, yeah, he has not gotten the big one done. I mean, this is the first time he's made it to the college football playoff, and they lost in semifinal.
In a lesser
Um,
conference, might I add.
so you know, yeah, before this, well, I mean, it was before him, but before this, Oklahoma was always the team making it out of the Big 12. If one of the Big 12 teams made it, it was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So,
I I definitely look forward to Georgia playing Texas
well, we'll
at
get to see it next year,
at Texas. You
next
know,
season.
that's going to be fun, and um, I look forward to. We'll do. I know we'll do a preview of the national championship, but I think this shapes up to be a really good one, and maybe not. I mean, I guess some people would have predicted it, but maybe not quite the two teams you thought would be here because I people thought Washington would lose twice to Oregon.
Well, I
So
know this isn't who Matthew thought was going to be here. Just go back and look at the
Uh,
tape.
um, well, I said
go
I would be
back.
happy with either Texas
No,
or
you
Washington.
said
I picked
no,
I
no,
picked
no,
Texas.
no. We're not doing the
Yes, I did.
revisionist
Yes,
history.
I did. Yes, I did. I said I
You
would
picked
be
Texas to win
happy.
it all.
I did because I thought they were on a hot streak and they were
And
crap in the bed a little
so,
bit. So I'm happy with Washington too.
No, I mean
But
that's fine. You can be happy with it, but there's only one winner on this show tonight. It was me. I got it right. I got both winners. I picked the
but who
game right.
predicted who predicted the Georgia game right? Huh? What was that?
Yeah, but you were 0 for 2 in the semifinals, dude.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
You were
The
0 for
I don't
2.
care.
I got the national championship right, but you picked the Orange Bowl right. I mean, for our sake, we care about the Orange Bowl more, but
That's a win.
if you ask people out there what matters more, I got the national championship matchup right. So I'm pretty
Well,
excited
look,
about that.
I Michigan was doing what Georgia should have been doing to Alabama. So that just proves even more why Alabama shouldn't have even been in that spot.
Well, to maybe not that, but like I think this also proves that I mean, the better two teams won.
Yeah,
The
100%.
I mean, they did. The two better
Well,
teams won.
the mistake that the committee made, in my estimation, wasn't all the uproar about leaving FSU out. That wasn't the
No,
mistake. The mistake was leaving Georgia out and dropping them from 1 all the way down
the
to
six.
6. That was the mistake they made. That was the bigger travesty. I don't care that we lost the SEC championship game. Um, you
We
put us on the field against any of those other teams, and we're probably going to come out on top. The only one that I'm even a little hesitant about is if we were to play Washington. I think with their offense, their quarterback, and their wide receivers, if we could, the only way, if we don't get pressure on Penix, which sacking, getting a lot of pressure and a lot of sacks wasn't necessarily our strong suit with our defensive line this year. If the, if that's the way that game plays out, I could see him carving up our defense, a la CJ Stroud in the semifinal last year. Um, and that would end up being you know, a heartburn type of game. Then, you just have to get in a shootout and hopefully you come out on top at the end like we did against Ohio State. Um, but I think you put Georgia on the field with any one of those uh, teams that made the field. Number one, they're going to be favored. We already know that. We were favored against Alabama. I think we still would be. And the um, the other participants too. The there it already came out Georgia would be favored over both the national championship participants. So um, I would feel comfortable saying we'd probably win the whole dang thing again if we were in it. But
Yep.
we'll never know.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's true. Yeah, Washington would be the scarier matchup of the four that got in. We've seen Alabama, several times, so we've proven that we can lose to them in Atlanta, still make the playoff, might I add, and win the national championship. So we've already done that. Don't bother me. Texas kind of looks like Texas, I mean Alabama light right now, so they don't bother me. And Michigan just wants to do what the other two, Texas and Alabama, want to do. They just do it better because they have more dudes. So yeah, it would have been interesting, but like I said, congrats to Washington and Michigan. Uh, Go Huskies, and hopefully they pull it out. Not saying that that's going to be my pick, but uh, hopefully they do pull it out for all of America that's not liking Michigan right now. and just want to do a few final thoughts here and wrap this thing up. And we will be back on Friday. What y'all got?
Well, I just would say also congratulations to Michigan. They finally got over the hump. They won a semifinal match, so they get to play for all the marbles next Monday night. Um, and it's going to be interesting to see how that defense matches up with Washington's offense. Um, because it looks like Michigan probably will be able to get some pressure on Penix and hopefully disrupt him, maybe disrupt him some. But if he's on like he was against Texas, I don't know that it would matter much. Um, so congratulations to those two. They've had really good seasons, winning their conferences, both of them undefeated. So they probably deserve to be there. They've earned it on the field. Um, and it should be a fitting into this college football season. I hate to see this season end because then we got to wait 8 more months to start it all over again next September. So, um, but yeah, it'll be should be a good game to watch. I would hope so anyway.
Yeah, I could piggyback on that. Next Monday is going to be an interesting game. Gosh, I can't speak. Um, between Washington and Michigan. I would like to see how Michigan's defense will do against Penix and how he is able to scramble uh tremendously well against any defense so far. Um, he's reminded me a lot of Lamar Jackson a little bit, um, which is kind of ironic, but um, I'm excited for next Monday to watch that game, see who comes out on top, and um, sad that the season is over.
Just about, not quite. I know we've still got Monday, but yeah, it's definitely sad that it's coming to an end. Because you got, like Dad said, 8 months of just waiting for for it again. But it's definitely been one of the more interesting seasons of the last several, because there wasn't just a clear cut team from start to finish. Uh, Georgia was, back to back national champs. So everybody kind of thought, okay, who's going to knock Georgia off? Well, it ended up being Alabama. So the three-peat dies, and we'll have to just start a new one. So hopefully next year we start first of three in a row, and be the first team to do that. And that would be crazy because then we would win 5 out of 6. That would be sick. But
Yeah.
no, it's just it's crazy to think that another season is coming to an end, and we're just constantly in this cycle of just waiting for next season to start. I just find myself saying, "Is it August yet?" And then flip over the calendar, and is it all August yet? So, um, definitely always excited for football. I'm glad to have it on. Always glad to watch it, no matter who's playing. And just wanted to say too that we're going to be, like I said, back on again on Friday as normally scheduled. And should be on again Sunday as normally scheduled. So thank y'all for tuning in. We definitely appreciate y'all. If y'all like what you're seeing from us, give us the like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Turn
Hit
on the
that
notification. Yeah,
notification bell. Don't want to
that
miss anything.
that way you know when we do go live, even when it's not on a regularly scheduled day or at a time that you think will be on. So please help us out with that. We appreciate y'all. Y'all take care and everyone have a good night. As always, go dogs.
Go dogs!
Odo.